Good evening, good evening. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you're well. One more second, let me throw the chat on the screen. There we go. Huzzah. Cool. I'm probably going to be painting, continuing on my journey of Intercessors, Samurai Guard, maybe a little bit on this Calixtus Assassin. Got a few different things I am working on at the moment. Let me know in chat what you're working on tonight if you are working on hobby, and thanks for being here. And if Steel Rain appears in this stream, then I am going to have I'm going to have a drink of this because he kindly sent me this. It looks like it's no joke though, 50% alcohol. So Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Distilled and aged by Four Roses Distillery, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. And I can happily say I've never drunk this before. And it comes with a nice little label. The story behind the bottle you're holding is entirely unique to Four Roses. Alright, well, if Steel Rain appears, we will crack this open. And I need to say thank you to him for sending me this. So, on another note, good evening. Highland Phoenix, Matt. DTM, I'll be farming keys in Diablo 2 tonight, so have this on in the background. Happy weekend. That is pretty cool. I have been playing a bit of Diablo 2. I am at level 87 with my Amazon. I don't think I have very good gear, but and I'm definitely not ready to farm keys, but I've been playing a bit of Diablo 2. It's an oldie, but it's a good game, Diablo 2. I like it a lot. It's a lot better than Diablo 3, which is surprising considering Diablo 3 came like years after it. But sometimes that's the way things go. I noticed this week as well, while we're speaking of gaming, God of War is now available on the PC. I think I need another pot of Dawnstone actually. I need to... Every week I look at my Dawnstone and think, fuck, I don't have much Dawnstone left. I need to put a reminder for myself somewhere to check that I have enough Dawnstone. As I scramble around and look on my desk, there is a pen. Let me grab this pen real quick. I shall write it on the paper that I'm going to be using. Can I write it down here? Dawnstone. Like, remember to fucking buy some more Dawnstone. That's a funny, but that's it. You're thinking of getting a Typhon. Oh, you're thinking of getting a Typhon as I can't afford an Astraeus at the moment. Opinions. Oh man, I don't remember the profile of the Typhon off the top of my head. I can pull it up though, 1 second. And if you are new to the stream at any point and you want to support it, you can obviously like the stream, or you can subscribe on YouTube or Twitch, or follow me on social as well. That's cool if you do that. Typhoon, it's Lord of War, right? Oh, it's not Typhoon, it's Typhon. Yeah, sorry, I remember this. It's a tank, right? Typhon is equipped with a Dread Hammer, Siege Cannon, and Crushing Tracks. Heavy 2d6, Strength 10, -4, 3 damage. I mean, that's decent. It's just sucky that it's heavy 2d6. I kind of, you know, that new Tau weapon that just came out with heavy d6, which I think is just more reliable. Or sorry, heavy 6 rather than heavy 2d6. And the Crushing Tracks is your standard. 20 wounds, 2 up save. I mean, it's fine for the points cost. What can you put on it? Las Cannon on both sides? Yeah, I mean, it's similar. It's similar to the Cerberus, which I actually own a Cerberus. Cerberus is 50 points more, but its weapon can do flat 6. So yeah, I mean, it's similar. It's fine. Yeah, I don't think a Typhoon's a particularly bad model. Oh, wrong thing. How do I put my phone back on? There we go. Cool. Is this going to be another 4-hour stream where you get 1 hour of painting done? No, I am going to be sleeping with my 2-year-old tonight. So even if I wanted to have a lot of drinking DTM, I literally can have one drink, because I generally don't like drinking if I'm sleeping in the same bed as one of my children. So no, I'll I'll have one small taster of this. That's all if I'm drinking tonight, that's all I'm having. Alright, start with Dawnstone on these incursors as we always do. Thanks for tuning in. I see a lot of names jumping up in the chat. Highland Phoenix has worked on a new 2022 list and submitted it and got some ideas about secondaries. He didn't squeeze in the Landspeeder Storm. Oh, that's disappointing. I thought you would have definitely squeezed that in. I might get a Landspeeder Storm in the next 6 months. I don't know. We'll see. I have 2 Landspeeders. I haven't really used them at all in 9th. I hate the flight stands that they come on, so maybe I can do some sort of like custom flight stand. That isn't Mephiston Red. Why does the main look so bright? Yeah, I don't use Mephiston Red. I use Evil Sun Scarlet. It's a much... I think compare it to Mephiston Red, there's quite a difference, right? Yeah, so my whole army's painted. It used to be called Blood Red, I believe, Evil Sun Scarlet, so I'm painted on the old one. Howdy Jeff, good evening. Thanks for being here. Dracula, nice to see you. I'm doing well. Lord of Lethargic, good evening. Matt, what's your flesh recipe? I always struggle with faces. You know what? I struggle with faces too. I kind of avoid painting faces, to be brutally honest. The way I do that is by finding helmets and stuff. So, yeah, what is people's go-to flesh recipe? I'm interested to know as well, because I don't paint flesh. Unless I absolutely have to, unless the model doesn't have, like, a helmet. I'm trying to think if I think I painted my Mephiston's face. Because was there a helmeted option for Mephiston? I don't think there was. So I think Mephiston might have been one of the few models that I painted faces on this edition. I never vomited last time. I don't typically vomit. I was very hungover the following morning after the New Year's stream though. My wife tried to wake me at like 8 o'clock in the morning to help with the kids, and I was just like, no, it's not happening. You need to come back in like 3 hours. So, I haven't really been drinking much during lockdown at all because, like, with young kids, I've just been avoiding bars and stuff. So, I think when I was drinking on New Year, that was about the one time in like 2 years I've really been seriously drinking, I guess, because of lockdown and all that nonsense. Guilliman Flesh on Corax White. Wraithbone, then Guilliman Flesh. Camille, coming in with the membership for 9 months, man. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Really appreciate the long-term members that we have on this channel. Thank you guys. It's much appreciated. I never know if, when it comes up like that, if someone has actually resubscribed, like, during the stream, or if, like, you know, like, it's just like, how does it, like, YouTube just bills you again, and, you're, you know, like, you subscribed during one of my previous streams, so the argument says you'll probably renew during our stream. Good evening, Steel Rain. How you doing? Nice to see you. I have got your bottle of four roses right here. Now that you're here, we can we can open this. I will open it once this paint on my palette goes dead. Good evening, left-handed Texan. How are you? Not surprised you were lit as fuck, says Lord Lethargic. Yeah, I have, like, see, when I'm drinking, I have, like, I either go one of two ways, right? I can have, like, one drink and that's me, or I just start drinking and I don't stop. It always reminds me of that interview that they had with Charlie Sheen, when he was like, I have one speed, go. And it's very much like that. It's like, usually, unless like I'm with my wife or something and she, like, literally makes me stop drinking, usually I end up becoming a nightmare when I'm drinking. So yeah, I haven't watched back any of that New Year stream, and I'm not going to, because of bloody, like, I think it's the word, you know, I don't know, it's like, it's one of those, like, I can watch my own YouTube videos. What's funny sometimes is like, and this is pretty funny actually, I don't know if this is me getting old and forgetful, but like sometimes when I'm thinking about my army lists and like what units to include in my army list, I've actually gone back and watched my own YouTube videos, like comparing units and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I did say that, you know, like that's useful, okay, I know what unit I'm going to take. Which is kind of funny, but yeah, I didn't want to watch back any of the Drunken New Year stream because I'm sure it was a mess. Camille says, hello John and brothers, finishing my Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators. Do you know what? I looked out a bunch of Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators this week. It's funny you should say that, Camille, because after another, like, in the game I played this week, I was once again unimpressed by my Blade Guard veterans. I really struggle with Blade Guard veterans. Like, on paper, they sound like they're going to be great, you know, like, but in so many of my games, I lose them. Because, like, I've even tried putting them in an Impulsor in the last few games to try and, like, give them essentially ablative wounds, but I don't know, I feel like I struggle to get the most out of the Blade Guard veterans, so I think I'm going to drop them and an Impulsor and pick up a squad of like Thunderhammer Terminators. I do not have Thunderhammer Terminators painted to a decent state at the moment, so actually now that you mention it, during the stream I may I was going to be painting some Sanguinary Guard, which I need to do as well, but I might try and get 3 colours on some Thunderhammer Terminators just so that we can field them, because yeah, I mean, I do genuinely like Terminators, and I think Thunderhammer Terminators and Blade Guard veterans, like, there's very little between them. But the main problem with the Blade Guard veterans, I mean, the main advantage of the Blade Guard is you get the transhuman, but the main problem is that you gotta walk across the battlefield. With the Terminators, it's like, fuck it, I'll just start them off the board and bring them down center board turn 2, and then if I have to, bring them down into a concealed position in the center board and start scoring oath points. And I kind of did that a little bit with my Chain Fist Terminators in a couple of those in a couple of games of that tournament I was at. I did that. So that's an option. Pust says, good evening to everybody. How you doing, Pust? Blade Guard suffer the -1 damage, and that is another very good point as well. Blade Guard have swords that get friggin' nerfed by -1 damage, don't they? So Terminators have the Thunderhammers or the Lightning Claws, and you don't have to run the Terminators on a 5-man, right? There's no advantage to... With the Blade Guard, you kind of have to keep them as a 5-man because you want that 1 CP transhuman, but with the Terminators, you don't need to keep them as a 5-man. So if you wanted to do like 3 Thunderhammers and then like 3 sets of Lightning Claws, like, I think that's totally valid as well, right? And there is ways with the Terminators to get, like, if you put like the list I'm running at the moment has quite a good number of starting CP. So if you put Quake Bolts around somewhere, like on your Primaris Tech Marine, hit the target the Terminators are going to charge to give them +1 to hit, pay Fury of the First to give them +1 to hit, and then you counteract the Terminators' Thunderhammers -1 to hit, and you end up having Thunderhammers that can hit on 2s, which is pretty good, right? Jacob, good evening. I'm well. I assume most people in chat are well. Saibal, how you doing? Good evening. James says, my issue with Thunderhammer Terminators is lack of AP really hurts them if they get stuck in combat and they only have 2 attacks hitting on 4s. Yeah, I suppose the -2 AP isn't the greatest on Thunderhammers. But I mean, are they... If they're stuck in combat, then you're never gonna have them combat turn 1, James, right? So like if they get in combat in turn 2, surely, and they survive because it's Terminators with Storm Shields and a 1-up save. If they survive, then surely you're on to -3 AP in the next turn, and -3 AP is usually enough, I'd say, to either push things onto like an unreliable save or their invulnerable save, right? Like, I never really feel like you need more than -3 AP. I mean, sometimes it's handy to have more than it, but like, it's not often when you're in a combat and you go, oh, I've only got -3 AP, shucks, you know? Like, most of the time, -3 AP is good enough, right? Did anyone like my thumbnail for tonight's video? Do you get enough sleep? Well, Michael went to sleep at 4 AM on Thursday night, and he went to sleep at 3:30 a.m. last night. So, are we getting enough sleep? No. My wife stayed up till 3:30 a.m. with him last night, so she went for a nap this afternoon. So I sat with one child on my lap and one child running around destroying our living room for like 3 hours while my wife slept. All right, so Steel Rain, thanks for this. It's so appreciative. So Steel Rain has sent me this bottle of 4 Roses single barrel bourbon, because I said on my New Year's stream that I don't really drink bourbon, and it has a cool pretty label with it. It says only 4 Roses uses 5 yeast strains with 2 mash bills to create 10 completely different bourbon recipes. For this single barrel product, I always it's like a note from the master brewer here, or master distiller, I guess. For this single barrel product, I always hand select each barrel from the same recipe at the peak of maturity for its robust and distinct character. You'll notice rich aromas of fruit and delicate flavors of apricot and pear, balanced perfectly with oaks of note, light spice and caramel. I mean, this sounds delicious at this point. Each barrel yields about 180 bottles, which are marked with an exact warehouse and aging location on the handwritten label. Are they? Am I missing something? Oh, the handwritten label. Oh, right, here. I'm an idiot. While enjoying the uniqueness of this award-winning single barrel bourbon, we hope you take the time to notice how smooth and mellow it begins, and then rewards with a finish that's long, soft, and delicate. Nice. Sounds delicious. It's my go-to bourbon, says Jacob. I have never tried it. It sounds incredible. Yeah, I mean, if I read you the tasting notes on some of the whiskies that I drink, tasting notes for the whiskies that I drink are usually like light spice, oak, fruits. Sometimes it can be like cinnamon, maybe sometimes like apples, and then light spice and caramel. That's like I smoked an e-cigarette for like a bunch of years, maybe like 5 years, and when I smoked an e-cigarette, like I smoked a caramel flavor tobacco. I have a really sweet tooth, so this will be great. And I prepared a glass with a tiny little bit of ice in it, because I spoke to Steel Rain and he said that at 50% what you want to do is you want to open it, you want to do a tiny little bit of ice. This is on Steel Rain's advice, and you want to let it sit for a minute, well, probably more than a few minutes, because 50% whiskey needs a little bit of time to evaporate. I'm not going to take too much. Like I said, I'm sleeping with my daughter in the same bed as her tonight, and she's like 2 years old, so I don't really like drinking. I don't really drink anything if I'm sleeping in the same bed with my kids, so I'm just going to have a small one. Don't dip your brush, says Jacob. Yeah. It's a wild turkey that's 50%? Really? This one says 50% as well, dude. Unless I'm missing something, right? 50%? No? I mean, if they do the percentages different in America, but it does say 50. Oh, that's crazy. They tell you the calories per nip? Okay, we don't do that in the UK, wow. Okay, that's good to know. Calories per nip. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna leave that for a minute to settle. But no, thanks again for sending that. I'm excited to try it. Just gonna say, maybe at some point we'll do we'll do some whiskey reviews on the channel. Blood Angels and whiskey. What can go wrong with that, huh? I mean, technically Blood Angels are probably more like, in all the books Dante's always drinking wine, but like, let's be real, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of wine myself. I suppose whiskey in a way is an acquired taste, same as wine, but I just never bother to acquire the taste for wine, like I did for whiskey, I guess. Is Colin all hyped up for his Ultramarine challenge on Monday? I think Colin might be bringing Death Guard on Monday, but he did message me today to say that he is going to build an Ultramarines list, and maybe he's bringing it on Monday. But yeah, he did say that because people were asking if they could see Ultramarines on the channel. And also, a little while ago, one of my subscribers, Emperor's son, who I haven't talked to in a little while, he was in the chat a few times, and he sent me a direct message on Facebook. He was asking a while ago if he could get like a Imperial Guard army on the channel, because he was really struggling against a certain Imperial Guard faction, and that was before they improved the Imperial Guard, because in the last balance slate, right, they gave all their tanks like a 2-up armor save down from a 3-up, or sorry, up from a 3-up, like they actually got a buff. So hopefully at some point, I spoke to Andrew last week about it and said like, hey, can we try and do that Imperial Guard matchup on the channel? Now that the Leman Russes are all in a 2-up save, so that's something we're going to try and do as well. So we are trying to make things happen, I guess. You got to make sure your opponent is using the right numbers for their attacks. Yeah. Maybe I'm too trusting. I assumed Andrew, because Andrew had made this army, I assumed that he'd checked. Like, I really assumed he'd checked how much damage his guns were doing. And Andrew's not a cheat. Andrew just tries to use the most powerful thing that he can. So I assumed the reason that I was losing the game was because he was using the most powerful broken thing that he can do. And yeah, in hindsight, I think I'd probably win that game. If I fight him again, I think I'd probably slightly better terrain. You called him out saying that you couldn't beat him with an 8th edition codex, James. I don't know. Ultramarines, I played Colin's Ultramarines last edition quite a lot, and Ultramarines were pretty good last edition. Aggressors were crazy good. Guilliman was very useful, and also, like, normally you don't expect Ultramarines to be good in combat, but Guilliman's a monster in combat. So, and I feel like I usually got the upper hand on him, but I don't think I've fought Colin's Ultramarines in like 2 years at this point. So I know he's got that new character, Uriel Ventress, as well. And don't be dense. Yeah, thanks, James. It's apparently shit on John night, but that's okay. I'm just glad that I'm getting a chance to paint, because I've been watching a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old all day, and I was like, hopefully they will go to sleep for at least a little while and we can get some painting done, because I've painted a lot less in this last like month and a half than I would have liked to have got done. Did anyone have a read of the new Good evening, John Lemon, how are you doing? Did anyone have a read of the new Armory of Renowned thing that the Phobos detachments are getting? Was anyone interested in that, or did anyone feel like... I don't know how I felt about it. I was excited when I heard that there was a Space Marine Army Renowned, but then once I actually read through the community article, I was like, well, it doesn't sound like it's going to be that useful, because I don't typically think an army of Phobos units and suppressors and Invictus tactical warsuits is going to be that impressive, right? Tactical warsuits are meh at best, suppressors are probably meh at best, and then, I mean, Phobos units are good, but I don't think you can win games with just Phonos units, right? Yeah, DTM says it looks weak to me. Good evening, Tony, how you doing? And yeah, I suppose I should, while Tony's in the chat, I should shout out thank you to everybody from here that watched the Three Grots live episode on Thursday night. We had 50 people on that stream, which was very cool, and you know, really appreciate the people that showed the support over there too, so thank you for that. It would be decent for Raven Guard. Well, that's just the thing though, Miguel. I don't think you can... what secondaries are being nerfed? Like Oath of Moment and stuff like that, or other secondaries? I'm facing Custode soon, any tips? I haven't seen their new codex, but I was going to say Null Zone always works really well against Custodes, and actually Weight of Fire helps a lot as well. I mean, Weight of Fire, I mean like a lot of attacks with low AP over like single high damaging attacks works better against Custodes as well. All right. 4 Roses single barrel straight Kentucky bourbon. On the nose, you can definitely get pears, it feels like. There's definitely a lot of sweetness in this. You know, I haven't drunk a straight bourbon in... What is this, 2022 now? In almost 3 years. The last straight bourbon I drank was the Metallica bourbon. I don't know what exactly it's called. Blackened. And I bought it in a bar in San Francisco. And honestly, like, because I bought it in a bar because I was thinking of buying a bottle, and I didn't buy it because I thought it was kind of boring. And I guess what I mean by boring is like no complexity to it. It was fine, right? Like the Metallica whiskey. I don't know if you've drunk it. It's called Blackened. I think if you just Google Blackened whiskey, you'd find it. It's like $100 for a bottle, right? And it's boring. So this is like, I'd say this is way better than that. There's a lot of little flavors and nuances in this. It's no Bowmore, says Jacob. Okay, well, I mean, this is me learning bourbon. But yeah, sometimes it's like that when you buy like a branded thing. It can actually be shit, and that was... I don't think the Metallica whiskey was shit, but I don't think it was worth $100 a bottle. It just seemed like a very plain... You know, like there was just 1 or 2 flavors in there, and it was very plain. And the gimmick was that apparently while it's in the barrels in the warehouse, is they play it different Metallica songs, and that's supposed to like cause vibrations in the barrels and put out different flavors. But like, I think that's a lot of shit, right? I would generally not recommend that you buy the branded Metallica whiskey. But 4 Roses single barrel, that is nice. How are you supposed to drink this? Am I supposed to sip it, or am I supposed, like, how would, like, for whiskey, it's pretty much a sipping drink, right? So, like, a shot in a glass, you'd maybe drink over, like, a half an hour or something, right? A Warhammer whiskey, well, I mean, I would review a Warhammer whiskey, yeah. That's something that I could get on board with. The Space Marine nerf is the limitation that we can only take 1 non-core rulebook secondary, either Space Marine Codex or the Blood Angels secondary. Oh, right. Wow, okay. So that's definitely a nerf then. Where did you read that? Or where's that coming from, James? My experience with mid-price stuff is better with bourbon. Do you know what? That's my experience with Scotch in some ways as well. Steel Rain, in that, like, if you want to spend, like, let's say $50 on a bottle of Scotch, and you want to spend $100 on a bottle of Scotch, I'd say that, like, once you've got to a $50 price point, you're getting a pretty good Scotch. So the extra 50 you'd spend on the $100 bottle, it's only getting like maybe 5% better. You know, like sometimes it's not even getting better. Funky Vibe says, hey, Blood Angels will come around. I'm trying to finish my Blood Angels army, but kind of stuck on painting an aerial vehicle, the Storm Raven gunship. What are you stuck on, brother? No oath and relentless assault, says DTM. Okay, I mean, that didn't affect me too much because I wasn't typically a relentless assault player, but that is actually a pretty... I guess it's probably for the best. Space Marines are a weird one right now. Like, I don't think we're in the strongest place, and we keep getting hit with nerfs, and I'm not really sure if the nerfs that we're getting hit with are particularly needed, but I mean, I guess if that's going to be the same for all the factions, then I guess that's the way it has to go, I guess. I did read a little bit about like no soup, whatever that means. Like there's going to be no. The rumor is that there's going to be no like sub-factioning, but I don't know how that's going to work with likes of like Eldar or somewhere who are like kind of designed to have sub-factions. Do you own an Imperial Knight Crusader? Ever thought of running it as a warlord? I mean, I don't own an Imperial Knight Crusader. I like the Crusader as a. If I was going to buy a knight, it probably would be a Crusader because I like the battle cannon that the Crusader has. But I don't think you could run it as a warlord because if you wanted to include it, you would need to run it as a super heavy Ox detachment, right? And if you do that, then you lose. I think you lose the Super Doctrine. Gelato, but if you want to run if you want a cool looking knight, there are some websites online that sell like Blood Angels upgrade parts for knights to make your knights look more Blood Angels, and at some point I would like to get one of those because they do look kind of badass. It's more of an Earth for Dark Angels, no Oath and Stubborn Defense. I just think Stubborn Defense is very good. Bowmore 21-year-old. Yeah, I mean, sometimes there are advantages on going for those older year ones. Sometimes it feels like you pay a lot of money for very little, I guess. I have tried like a 25-year-old Tom and Towel, I think was the one that I tried for Scotch. And yeah, it was crazy good, but like, was it worth like £300 a bottle? I don't know. I don't think so. My Baneblade kicks the Crusader's ass. I mean, yeah, if you really want to run some sort of like crazy heavy support, would you be better just running like an actual Space Marine super heavy? Because then at least if it contains the same faction keyword, you only have to pay, what is it, like 2 CP to include it? Because you get refunded 2 CP on the Super Heavy Ox detachment, and then you get to keep the Super Doctrine as well. I mean, I've run a Super Heavy tank a bunch of times in this edition. I don't think they're bad. It's just got done with Death Company and a fun time painting them and other infantry, but the gunship has been taking away a while. I mean, big models take time, Funky. It's just the way it works. I think it took me like a month to paint my Super Heavy, maybe even longer, and that was when I was able to paint like, I think I painted that like over a Christmas holiday where I would have been painting like 5 hours a day. So the best thing I can say is if you're just make sure you get 3 colors on it first so that you can play with it and it's valid, and then build up more colors over time. I mean, you don't have to completely finish a model to be able to use it on the battlefield. You just need to get it battle ready and then move on again. Yeah, I mean, I have a Falchion, but I also have a Cerberus, so I got 2 super heavy tanks. They're kind of similar, the Falchion and the Cerberus, but I mean, if you're just looking for some sort of like really heavy fire support cannon, then both those models have a cannon that can do flat D6 damage, which is nice. I mean, the Falchion, if I remember correctly, can do over 100 wounds per turn because it's got the Falchion Mega Cannon, or whatever it's called, the Twin Volcano Cannon that can do 36 wounds. It can be equipped with like 3 heavy bolters, so that's another 18 wounds, so that gives you 54. And then it can take 8 las cannons, which is potentially 48, or it can take like 6 laser destroyers, which is 36. So 54 plus 36, that's 90 wounds. And obviously it can charge, and it's not terrible in combat either. So Maverick says, I've sent you a list for the army list show via DM on Discord. Okay, cool, Maverick, thanks for letting me know. I would have found it anyway, but I appreciate you just shouting it out in here. Do you know what, like, ever since I've had this second baby, I've not been on Discord as much as I was before the first baby. It's just, I don't know if it's just like, it's probably just at the moment I'm quite tired, right? Because we've not been getting enough sleep at night and shit like that. Because my mum was asking me the other day, she's like, are you angry with us or something? And I was like, no, Mum, I've basically got 2 jobs and I've got a fucking baby that's like 6 weeks old. I'm not angry with anyone. If I didn't reply to your message, it's probably because I'm fucking tired and I forgot about it, you know? So, yeah, I appreciate you shouting out there. Thank you. Do you think Blood Angels get out as some sort of fallback and charge, even like a 1 or 2 CP deal? I mean, it seems strange that we have no fallback. We do have one way. There's one, like the Sanguiner can fall back and charge, right? I think that's the only way we can fall back and charge. There used to be a relic that let us fall back and charge. It's maybe still in there, right? I don't know if it's still there, but the Sanguiner can fall back and charge. He's the only character that I know that we have that can do that. Yeah, I mean, fallback and charge is really strong, especially because you get like your Shock Assault and Savage Echoes when you charge, right? So it seems a bit sad that we don't have it, and also I think like it's also a little bit sad that we don't have any sort of advance in charge. I mean, I guess in some ways Forlorn Fury is kind of like an advance in charge, right? But yeah, for like a big melee army like we're supposed to be, those powers kind of confuse me. And I'll tell you the other thing that can you run the Legion Dawnstone model in 9th? Is that the... That's not the Dreadnought that can fly, because if it is, you can't. Angel's Wings, does that still exist, does it? The Falchion is still undefeated, thanks for pointing that out, James. We played 10 games on the channel and won every single one in 9th with Falchion. The Relic Angel's Wings... Oh, they actually got rid of Angel's Wings. I wasn't sure, I couldn't remember. But that was a fallback and charge relic, wasn't it? And oh, something else to say. It's a Crusade relic now. Yeah, do you know what? So I was playing AdMech in that tournament a few weeks back, and AdMech have they have some sort of stratagem that AdMech have everything in their codex. Let's be real, but they have a stratagem that lets them add like +1 attack or something, or maybe it's even +2 attacks to like a melee model when it's charged. Like I think you can play it on your infiltrators, because I think it changes your infiltrators from like 2 attacks to 4 attacks maybe. Oh, your 14-month-old daughter got COVID. I hope everything goes okay, Sir Jester. That sounds rough. That sounds very rough, yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to avoid my daughter, who's 2 years old, getting COVID. Oh, the Dawnstone are the guys with the jump packs. Yeah, they don't have rules in 40k at the moment, I'm afraid. I had something to say there, but I think I've completely lost where I was. Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time on my super heavy tank that had... When I painted my super heavy tank, it had no place in the meta because it was like 800 points and completely unfieldable. Might have actually... I think it was actually over 1,000 points at one point, and it was completely unfieldable, but like, if you paint it, at some point there'll be rules for it, and at some point, like, it feels to me that like a model's competitiveness just comes and goes from either edition to edition or codex to codex. So it's almost like it's never a bad idea to paint and finish a model, even if it's not good right now. Chances are at some point it's going to be good, right? Yeah, the bourbon was nice, man. I was asking people in the chat how you actually are supposed to drink bourbon, because I've never really... Oh, Gleaming Penguins still exists? Yeah, okay. Special issue war gear that probably everybody forgot about. For a jump pack unit, fallback and charge. Cool. Thanks for pointing that out. I did think it was still in there, but oh, that was it. Yeah, so AdMech have like that nice ability to add like extra attacks and stuff to their infiltrators. Does anyone actually use the red thirst stratagem now? Because the red thirst stratagem actually used to be really good, right? Sir Joster, someone in chat was telling me about Lagavulin last week or something. They were saying you need to have Lagavulin with Coca-Cola, and it's called a smoky Coca or something. It's supposed to be really nice, but I don't actually have any bottles of Lagavulin. Maybe I'll put that on my list to get. But yeah, I used to use the Red Thirst all the time. It used to give your characters plus D3 attacks. It was pretty nice on something like a Librarian Dreadnought or a Smash Captain or something like that, right? And then they changed Red Thirst to basically on rolls of 6s, it gives you 1 extra AP. Red Rampage, that's the one, yeah. And like, Red Rampage still exists, right? But no one fucking uses it now. I've never used it since they changed it. And do you know what? It's kind of funny because they made that big deal on the Warhammer community site, you know, like, hey, we've changed Red Rampage, now it improves your whole army. It's like, yeah, but it's fucking useless. I'm actually going to Google that right now and see what comes up. Yeah, here it is. Let's have a look. The Blood Angels have a healthy dose of new and updated stratagems they can use in addition to those featured in Codex Space Marines. They exemplify how the Sons of Sanguinius fight. One of the most powerful is Red Rampage, which affects not just one unit but your entire army for just a single CP. Use the stratagem in your command phase. If the Assault Doctrine is it's even restricted to Assault Doctrine, so it's only going to be in turn 3 when most of your weapons already have really good AP. Each time a Blood Angel's model from your army attacks with a pistol, well, Infernal Pistols are already going to be -5, so I guess -6 is not really going to be a problem, and other pistols are probably going to be like -2 or -3, so -4 is going to be no advantage. On an unmodified roll of 6, the AP is improved by 1. I don't know, like the most powerful Red Rampage is a pile of shit. I've never used that since they I could be overreacting. Please tell me, has anyone used that? Does anyone use that regularly? Because I used to use Red Rampage all the time, every single game, multiple times per game. Here's one of my most expensive characters in a good spot in combat. Let's get some additional attacks. I wouldn't have even mattered if it had been like they removed it from because they were trying to remove characters, right? Or they were trying to make it so it's less about characters. If they changed Red Rampage to be like one of your sergeants or something, you know, like one of your squads could do D3 additional attacks for 1 CP. Like if you have your Sanguinary Guard like piring into Plague Burst Crawler. Actually, somebody asked about Plague Burst Crawlers. Let me get to that as well. Would you spend 1 CP to get 3 additional attacks? Maybe D3. Yeah, probably. I mean, that's pretty important, right? It's pretty big. Cal Zarok says painting his first mini. Wish me luck. What is your first mini, Cal Zarok? Thanks for hanging out. 500 points of shooting, asks Steve West. Is that 500 dedicated or 500 is the sum of all guns in your army? It's probably more like the sum of all the guns, but like, I would say guns like bolters with 0 AP, I wouldn't really include them in your shooting, right? Because like, I'm talking about guns that will actually do damage. So like plasmas, multi-meltas, I guess las cannons, onslaught cannons, I guess twin cannons or assault cannons would be okay, but like guns that actually will do damage, like don't include, like I always run 3 squads of troops, so that's like 3 squads of you know, guys with basically like some variation of like a bolter, you know. I don't include that as dedicated fire support because they don't fucking kill anyone, and usually your troops are hiding in, you know, like the job of a group of troops is to hold an objective. It's not to try and shoot the enemy off the board, right? So like If you're going to try and include 500 points of shooting in your army, then it shouldn't be models that are like... should be models that are actually genuinely killing things, I guess, is how I would look at it. I'd make up a Sicarian strat for +1 attack for 1 CP, and veteran cohort strat for the same thing, 1 attack for 1 CP. They can also burst their tasers on 5s for another 1 CP, or 3 CP, but it's crazy DPS percentage-based boost. Yeah, so that was kind of my point, DTM. So when I played against the AdMech, and the guy was able to start spending all these stratagems or CPs to make them like so much better in combat, I'm sort of sat there thinking like, we're Blood Angels, we're supposed to be one of the best combat armies in the game, and the only stratagem that we have to improve our combat is on 6s. We'll get an additional point of AP, and at that point in the game, like, most of my stuff is like already -3 AP, so unless you're on a 2-up save with no invulnerable, which, like, not many things that have a 2-up save have no invulnerable. I mean, some things do, I guess, Lehman Russes, but, like, enemy characters... If an enemy character has a 2-up save, the chances of them not having an invulnerable is, like, slim to none, I'd say. So yeah, I don't know why we've got no stratagems that make our combat better, right? Balance Hydra says, I forgot that strategy even exists. Yeah, it's just complete crap. It was one of the most powerful when it was plus D3 to a character, yeah. Tau Plasma Blast Cannons. Yeah, I mean, the Tau are going to be fun to play against now, aren't they? I think we'll... Tau were... I don't know. Tau were a really powerful army for a while. They have obviously not been for a little while. I think they're going to return to be very powerful again. The numbers that are coming out from Warhammer community in terms of like the damage of their weapons is borderline stupid in my opinion. I mean, it's just my opinion. I guess let's see how we get on with them on the battlefield. But multiple units with 12 damage cannons, when like, you know, Space Marines have las cannons, which are D6, and when you really need a good roll on a las cannon, you roll a 1, and then it's just like, oh, Tau, we have flat 12 damage cannons. Okay, great. I mean, those things even dwarf multi-melters, right? Which is kind of crazy, because everyone was like, well, multi-melters are pretty good, eradicators are pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I have 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, but I mean, Redemptor Dreadnoughts are going to become a lot tougher to play if there's Tau players there that could basically one-shot them. One-shot them with 1 gun from their army. That's the crazy thing. I think we'll see an army of Storm Surges. Storm Surges and Hammerheads, I guess you'll see... I mean, if I was a Tau player, I'd run like 2 or 3 Hammerheads, 2 Storm Surges, and then like shitload of Crisis Suits and infantry. I think that's going to be really, really difficult to deal with. Use the Crisis Suits almost as like a screening unit that can kind of prevent charging because of like the Greater Good. I don't know actually what's happening with the Greater Good rule, but you know, the tournament I was at, the guy had, oh well, shield drones are maybe getting a slight nerf, but yeah, it's gonna be tricky, isn't it? I'm not really sure. I'm a little bit worried about playing against Tau, to be honest. The Greater Good removed from what I heard. I guess we'll see what happened with the Greater Good. What is an Aussie Man review? Is that one of those like troll reviews where they're like, it's a shit show? The railguns are only single shots. The railguns are single shots, right? But the plasma blasters double shots. And I guess the railguns will one-shot a contemptor, and you won't get to take an invulnerable save. Is that right? So if they hit and wound your contemptor, so if they hit like on a 4-up rerolls, potentially they can marker light it to make it like a 3-up with rerolls, and then they wound you on a 2-up because it's like strength 14. You just lose a contemptor instantly, right? I'm not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, I mean, like, I could put a super heavy tank on the table and they could kill it with 2 shots, which is... Yeah, I mean... It's a little bit scary, isn't it? An 800 point model getting 2 shot from... I don't know how I feel about it. I feel scared, I guess. I guess that's a valid way to feel about it. I'm worried about hammerheads. I'm worried about 3 of them for 500 points can deal with any amount of enemy armor, leaving the player 1500 points for anti-infantry, objective playing, etc. Sounds scary. Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, like if you have a few hammerheads and a few storm surges, and the storm surge isn't just going to be anti-armor. Well, it isn't. The fact that it's got a secondary mode that's heavy 6, damage 4 is pretty darn good as well. I guess we'll see. Tau will be... It's so hard to predict right now, but I feel like Tau are going to be in a strong place. I really do. So I've been putting together a slide on how I wish Sanguinary Guard Primaris would turn out. I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, share it in the Discord. I did sort of that idea with Dante, but I guess the problem is everybody's got their own ideas on what Sanguinary Guard should look like as a Primaris version, or what Dante should look like as a Primaris version. So I guess everyone's ideas are not going to always align, but I think I would just like to probably see them with like an invulnerable save and probably I think they need an invulnerable save, and I think they probably want an additional wound if they're going Primaris. I don't necessarily know if they need any more attacks. I mean, like, I think Sanguinary Guard have enough attacks. I think if you try to give them more attacks, then you would get into a situation where like they'd be too expensive points wise. I think an invulnerable save and an additional wound as a Primaris would be totally fine for me with Sanguinary Guard. And it doesn't necessarily even need to be a 4-up invulnerable save. I mean, that's what we'd all like, but I mean, I'd be okay with a 5-up, just because they are wearing Artificer armor. So Artificer armor, for every other fucking guy that wears Artificer armor, gets a 5-up. It's basically Terminator armor, right? It's golden Terminator armor is what Sanguinary Guard are supposed to be wearing. When do you plan including Assault Terminators in your list? I mean, I was half considering taking them. I was half considering taking them on Monday night's game, to be honest, because I was thinking of giving the Blade Guard a rest and see how we do. I mean, it is Death Guard, and we already just said that Blade Guard aren't good against -1 damage targets, right? I don't really want to be basing my list around fighting Death Guard, but there's a lot of stuff that's -1 damage now that's can be a real pain. So I do think having like a good contingent of 3 damage weapons in your list. Or lightning claws, I suppose, because lightning claws kind of make up for it because of the reroll to wound. I do think those two things are really important. Tridel in the battle sector, Sanguinary Guard have good armor. Are they bad in battle? I haven't played much battle sector. I was planning on playing it once I get a new computer. I'm going to get a new computer in a couple of months' time. But my computer at the moment is kind of hot garbage, so I was waiting till I got a new machine. I take it, I think because Terminator, you can get Terminators in battle sector as well, can't you? Aren't Vanguard veterans just Sanguinary Guard with Invuln though? Like that's the option is already in the books. Well, I mean, Sanguinary Guard have the 2 damage swords and axes, right? But I mean, in some ways, 2 damage is kind of crap now. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. For me, Vanguard veterans are more about blending infantry, where Sanguinary Guard are more about taking on heavier targets. But in some ways, like you said, it's kind of a tricky one anyway, because if you give that's why I think Sanguinary Guard should have a 5-up in Invuln, right? 1 more wound, 5-up in Invuln, and then more like they're more for taking on armor, whereas Vanguard veterans are for taking on infantry. Or, I mean, I guess they could take on multi-wound infantry, I guess. But you know what I'm trying to say, I guess. Sanguinary Guard also get that bonus if they're within 6 of your warlord. They get +1 to hit, which is kind of huge, and it kind of makes it thematic. But I think Sanguinary Guard probably also need the bodyguard keyword, right? It's kind of strange that they're not bodyguards, because like if you go read the lore, they're like they are bodyguards, but on the board they don't have the bodyguard. I think the bodyguard rule was added after Sanguinary Guard were added. So like if Sanguinary Guard got added tomorrow, they'd probably have the bodyguard rule, because like I guess it would make sense in the lore that they are bodyguards, so they'd have the rule. But I guess because it's later, not so much. Just make it Blade Guard with yeah, I mean, if Blade Guard ever get jump packs, that will be interesting, because that will mess with Sanguinary Guard. But I guess, I mean, that's essentially what we want, is almost like jumping Blade Guard, isn't it? Jaeger Bomb, thank you so much for the $5. Latest rumors are that Space Marines getting Rocket Marines, Assault Jump Marines, and a new Dreadnought. Your thoughts? I hope we see new Sanguinary Guard. So the Assault Jump Pack Marines are from a rumor around the new Space Marine game, right? And the rumor is that there's a Primaris Assault Marine in that new Space Marine video game, so we're gonna get a squad of Assault Marines. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think Assault Primaris Marines alone are going to be that exciting, but like if that opens the door for like our custom chapter jump pack Primaris units, then I'm totally on board, right? Because I think like if you just put a jump pack on an Assault Intercessor and said, oh, Assault Intercessors can now be elites, but they wear jump packs and they move 12, like that alone is not going to really be that exciting. I mean, it might be exciting if they keep the stratagem that lets them fight twice, but the new Dreadnought's rumored to be some sort of close combat Redemptor. I mean, I kind of like that, but I also think that like the Redemptor's kind of already fine in close combat. You know, its fist is D3+3, so would you want to give up its shooting capabilities for like how much better would it really be in combat, like an extra attack or something? And then the rocket guys are I've heard the leak about the rocket guys. I haven't seen what they look like. I guess it's maybe going to be like a Devastator squad for Primaris. I mean, that seems fine, but I don't know if it will. I mean, Eradicators are kind of already that, but just shorter range. But Eradicators can advance and fire. So yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about, I guess, out of the three you mentioned, is that the fact that we might get any sort of jump infantry for Primaris, I guess, potentially opens the door for some sort of like faction-specific jump infantry, and the faction-specific jump infantry is what we need to get, right? I didn't think we'd be still waiting. I didn't think we'd still be having this conversation. I was convinced that they were going to do that last year. Because it didn't happen last year, now I'm not so sure. Like, I don't know when they're going to address the fact that, like, we don't have jump-specific Primaris Marines. Are we talking about the new Primaris Show Stealers? Has Auspex Tactics made a video and called them that, has he? We need a true death company, 3 wounds, 3+. You're never... Dude, they will never introduce a 3+ feel no pain. I'm sorry. I mean, they don't even particularly like giving Death Company a 6-up feel no pain. It feels like if anything, we'll maybe get like a 5-up feel no pain. But yeah, you won't see a 3-up feel no pain on Death Company. If you did, you'd just see full armies of Death Company models. This edition, they've made a very conscious decision to remove all the 3-up invulnerable saves. I think there's only a few models that still have a 3-up invulnerable save, and now it doesn't feel like it's like for the entire... It's not for the entire game. They've got the 3-up. It can be like a single battle round or a turn or a phase or something like that. So I think that they're going to continue to do that. When did the original Sangre Guard came out? I feel like it was about 4th or 5th edition. I quit during 4th edition and didn't come back till 7th, but I think they were out before I quit. But I don't think I owned any of them before I quit. Okay, so I probably quit about the end of 4th and they came out in 5th. Thanks for that, Krychek. We do have a gazillion mortal wounds in the current meta. It's not so much fun, is it? What was Rending? I remember the name, but I don't remember what Rending actually was. Auto wounds. Oh, was it auto wounds on 6s or something? Or they just auto wound when they hit. I remember back in the day, used to be Lamartas used to let Death Company re-roll all their hits. I think Lamartas let you re-roll your charge and your hits or something. Like Lamartas was the bomb back in like 4th edition. He was so strong. 6s auto wounds and ignore armor saves. Wow. Okay. That was nice. Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, no, they've made a conscious. You know, that's the sort of stratagem that we should have, though, right? We talk about like how there was no. Thank you so much for following in Instior. We talk about how there's no stratagems or something that like are gonna buff the buff Blood Angels and melee. Well, there's a great stratagem. Rather than like +1 AP, why not make it that like the 6s make it so they can't take armor saves? I mean, that would be huge. You know, they are sort of doing that now in some ways, and I am not sure how I feel about that. You know, like we got this new Hammerhead that's got a cannon that ignores invulnerable saves. Well, my problem with a cannon that can do 12 damage in a single shot and ignores invulnerable saves, I guess, is like when you're building your army list, you're paying the points to include an invulnerable save on a unit, and then if they're saying a certain cannon or a certain weapon or whatever can ignore that invulnerable save, then in some ways you're actually making it harder for yourself to balance these models, right? Because it's like, oh well, we've got this model, but it can ignore invulnerable saves. So how do we balance other people spending points? How do we balance other people spending points on invulnerable saves when we have weapons that can just go straight through them? And I guess in some ways that's the issue with mortal wounds as well a little bit. Lamartas was an auto-include, now he's a dust collector. Yeah. Lamartas I included him all the time last edition. You know that? I ran him a lot in 8th, but I just don't. I don't find the place for him in 9th at all. I like the reroll charge on Death Company. I mean, like, you generally reroll charge on a unit is very strong, but yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I noticed that people disliked the video I put out yesterday. You know, most of my videos get like 100% likes, but like the video I put out yesterday got a bunch of dislikes, so I mean, it's fine to put out a video that got dislikes. I'm not upset about it. But I guess the interesting thing is that, like, if you know, people dislike the fact that I think they dislike the fact that I want the rule set to become more. So some people are in love with codexes as they are, right? Like, codexes with all the lore, everything in them, the fluff, the pictures, the art, the color schemes. Some people are in love with that. Whereas, like, as a competitive player, where I don't, like, sure, when I was younger and I had unlimited free time, right? I would read all the lore, I would look at all the pictures, I would know all the Crusade stuff. But now as an adult, I do not have unlimited free time, and my focus is on competitive play. So because of that, the main thing about the codex for me is the rules, I guess. And when the rules are almost out of date as soon as you buy the codex, that's what I really dislike, I guess. What was wrong with the video? I assume it's because I said that I think a digital version of the rules would be better than a physical version. And like I said, some people are in love with how codexes are, or whatever, I guess. And also some people really like having the books over having the, you know, having it on the app. But here's the thing, I don't like the GW app at all. I think it's terrible. I don't use it. Like, I generally print my army lists off Battlescribe because that's usually, I mean, I have the books, and occasionally, I guess, during a game or something, I might look up a rule from the books, but usually I do my army lists on Battlescribe. I don't think the GW app is very good for army lists, and I actually don't think it's very good for looking up models and stuff either. I don't think the user interface is great. I just don't like it, I guess. So I'd rather, like, I guess maybe I should have said that in my video. Like, you know, I would, if it's going to go to digital, it would need to be a lot better than it currently is, because currently the digital offering, in my opinion, is not very good. I mean, like, you guys watch my stream, right? I use Wapedia all the time. It's just a website with all the data sheets, and it's kept up to date. So if Games Workshop had a website that had all the data sheets and it was kept up to date, we didn't have to wait. I think probably the other thing people disliked was maybe because I said, like, I would pay for that. You know, like, I would pay for more often updates than like a poor codex every 2 years. Sometimes as soon as the codex come out, it's already not in a great place. So you wait 2 years to get a codex and it's lackluster. Whereas if it was just like you just paid for it, I don't know, a few bucks a month, and it was updated and it was more exciting and more models were given the love they deserve. I don't know. I guess it's controversial and it's a tough topic because some people really love the books, and I get that. You know, it's nice to have a collection of the books and the codexes and stuff, but maybe the competitive rules shouldn't be in the codex, I guess, would probably be a better way for me. Like, if I'd thought about that video more, like, maybe the competitive rules don't need to be in the codex. Maybe the codex is everything else, and it has a code in the back of it, and the competitive rules are not in the codex. But then, like I said on the stream the other night with Tony and Mark and that, I guess competitive players are kind of the minority, so it's probably not going to happen. So I wouldn't worry about it. If you want to dislike my video from the other night, please go ahead and dislike it. It's fine. I highly doubt your video got downvoted for suggesting the digital rule set. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the problem with YouTube, is you get downvotes and you don't know You don't know why you got the downvote, right? I assume based on the comments, some people disliked that I had this idea. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. You know, like I've said many times that I was out of this hobby for a long time, and when I was out of this hobby for a long time, I played a lot of video games. When we finally get like the new Dark Tide game or another game that we can play multiplayer on here, I'm gonna have streams where I'll be playing those games, and obviously any of you guys that have PC can add me on Steam and we can play those games together. I'm gonna get a new PC and I'm probably gonna order in February, but God knows with graphics card problems, it's probably gonna be a couple of months before I get it. But I am gonna order a new PC this year, right? So, and there's a few 40k games coming out that I want to play. It's one of the reasons that I've been saving for a new PC. So, I'm sure, you know, at some point, like you guys will see on Steam, like I played a lot of games on Steam, and like the thing that I like about video games, I guess, is that you're not stuck with the same meta for like such a long period of time, I guess. And also, I guess we'll have to see how this 3-month balance update thing goes, but you know, I did another video on the 3-month balance update thing, saying that like I think it's good, but let's see how it goes, because for me, like a 3-month balance update, right? If they're gonna, you know, like when a video game does a balance patch, they balance tons of stuff. It's not like, hey, these four units were too strong, so we've added 20 points to them. It's also like these 20 other models are not strong enough, so we've made them cheaper. And like last year, you remember the balance patch we got last year in Chapter Approved 2021, for example, right? Like they took Land Raiders and took 20 points off them. They took those new speeder bikes, the Storm Surges, I think they're called, and they took 20 points off all of them. Someone in chat, if anyone in chat has fielded a Land Raider or a Storm Surge since they dropped them 20 points last year, please make yourself known. But I want to say that like no one's fielding those, right? Like the 20 point update last year was nice, but nice shout out. I wrote Dawnstone down here, so I remembered. I think I need to buy more Dawnstone, Rezio. Clinton says, I like the app, but the points have not been updated for Vanguard Vet jump packs and hammers since August. My store contacted GW and mentioned we run tournaments and your points are wrong, and they're still wrong. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I don't know what their team that is doing the app is doing, but overall, I guess my opinion is I have not been impressed with the app. I don't like it. I mean, Battlescribe is a great app and it's free. And like I said, I do all my army lists on that. I actually pay the subscription to Warhammer, whatever it is, $4.99 a month. I paid for it the year in advance because I wanted the model that it gave, the assassin. But at the same time, it does feel like, you know, like I don't feel like I'm getting great value out of my subscription because the products aren't great. I don't know, it's a tough one. I don't even know if Blood Angels have it as bad as other chapters, honestly, because I think there's some other armies that are even weaker than we are. And so I probably shouldn't be moaning as much as I am moaning, but I guess I'm moaning all the less. Battlescry for life, says Jacob. Transitioning to a full digital rule set makes the game more accessible. The codexes could then be in place for lower paint guides. Oh, excuse me, artwork, strategy guides, more of a collector's piece. Yeah, and I mean, I would probably, at the moment, I don't buy any codex other than Blood Angels and Space Marines, right? Because I don't necessarily care about the rules for the other chapters. If it was more, if the codexes became more like story-based book, because like a lot of the stuff in the codex gets regurgitated every year, you know, right? Like there'll always be a page on Commander Dante. Every codex there'll be a new page on Commander Dante, right? Like how many times do you need to read the same page? Like it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. I don't know what the solution is. But I would like to see I would like to see the rules, like the actual competitive data sheets, be available. Like maybe not on a website, but a website's good because the website can be updated like super quickly. And in these 3-month balance updates, like actually really balance stuff, right? You know, like, I mean, if they don't know where to start, just watch my videos and be like, look, Ball Predators, they're shit. This is what you need to do to fix Ball Predators. Make the Flamers Assault, right? If they literally change the keywords on those guns on the Ball Predators, like it's a tiny little change, but in chapter approved, all they can do is change the points cost. So if they take 10 points off a Ball Predator, you still not see any Ball Predators. If you made the Flamers on the Ball Predators Assault, you probably suddenly see like loads of people like, oh wow, Ball Predators can advance and shoot their Flamers. That's pretty cool, interesting tactic, unique to the chapter. Let's do it, you know? But it's like, I don't know. There's new. I did hear that there are new campaign modes coming to Battle Sector. So Battle Sector's been pretty well received overall, then I guess, right? Is it just Necrons that are coming, or is that another army too? Battle Sector is one of the first games that I plan on streaming once I get my new PC. Because I was enjoying it when I played the beta, or when they gave me the early access, but like when I watched the stream back, it was like 20 frames per second. It was horrible, so I was just like, yeah, I just gotta wait till I get a new computer for this. Oh, it's just Necrons that are coming? Okay. I thought it would... Battle Sector is a PC game. I think it's actually on PlayStation now as well. And it's basically like it's probably as close to a tabletop version of Warhammer. Like it's a turn-based strategy game on PC. It's made by the guys that made the Battlestar Galactica turn-based strategy game on PC as well. I never played that. I actually do love Battlestar Galactica, but I never got time. I never found the time to play the video game. But apparently the video game was the Battlestar video game was pretty well received. So I assume that the levels that I played in Battle Sector seemed pretty cool, but I mean I played it when it was pretty early in development. Space Marine Super Doctrines need to be better if they're going to have run-let detachments of whatever they mix. Yeah, I mean, the Super Doctrines, again, were cut and pasted from 8th edition. Were they Steel Rain? Did anyone's... I mean, Dark Angel's Super Doctrine maybe changed, and maybe somebody else's Super Doctrine changed a little bit, but for the most part, the Super Doctrines were exactly the same as they were last edition, I think. I think Blood Angels was identical, right? Like, nothing changed for us anyway. I think Ultramarines was the same as well. The Battlestar Galactica game is great. They got someone to do... I really loved the music in Battlestar Galactica, and I heard that the composer they got really tried to pay homage to the music from the TV show, which is cool. In other news, I believe that I read that Katie Sackhoff, you know, Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica, is getting her own Star Wars spin-off series with her character from The Mandalorian. It seems like Disney are going to make a Star Wars series for every single character that was in The Mandalorian, even if they were just in it for a minute, because The Mandalorian is like hot stuff, I guess. I have been watching the Boba Fett series. I'm 3 episodes in it. I think it's been pretty decent. Good evening, Jacob. Thanks for watching. I thought it would be neat if they made data cards for the units fielded instead of flipping through the codex. Do you know what? They used to do that, Clint. Like back in 2nd edition, if you bought a tank, you actually got like a data card for that tank. And it kind of wasn't bad. But again, that has the same problem, I guess. Then if you ever want to update that tank's rules, then you have a data card that's like out of date, I guess. So, not entirely sure what the right call is there, I guess. But in some ways I did actually, you know, I'm on board with what you're saying there. I enjoyed getting data cards with the models. It also meant that the models didn't necessarily need to be in the codex when the codex launched, right? Because the model could come out later because the data card was in the box with the model, like the full data card, like not these little broken down ones we get in 9th. Christopher, thank you for joining and hanging out. Yeah, I mean, the channel has been going really well, actually. I kind of stalled out for a little while, but like I guess the last few videos have been picking up, and Auspex Tactics gave me a shout out in a video a couple of weeks back, which helped. So yeah, I think by the end of January we'll be, if we aren't at 9,000 subscribers, I think we'll be close. Things are going really well. The Netflix show that Katie Sackhoff was in was horrible. You're talking about Another Life, aren't you, Steel Rain? I actually kind of liked that show. It got panned by the critics. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but season 1 got totally panned by the critics, but the audience score for it was actually really high. But I mean, again, I guess things are subjective, I guess. I think you're talking about Another Life. If she was in another one, I don't know which one it was. But yeah, I mean, I actually thought she died. Oh, I was going to say, spoiler for season 2 of The Mandalorian. If you've not seen it, maybe I'll just leave that spoiler. I mean, you should have seen season 2 of Mandalorian at this point, right? It's been out for a while. At 9k, we'll do a celebration. Ours, you are the 9th Legion channel. I never even thought about that, Highland Phoenix, but that is a cool idea for sure. I do remember that Voldemort was in here. Yeah, he's got like 130,000 subscribers, doesn't he? Came in at New Year just to say hi, which is crazy. I can't even fathom 100,000 subscribers. I'm trying to remember what even happened in season 1 of Another Life, Steel Rain. I do remember it was all over the place, that show, though. It was a strange show, but I didn't hate it. I've watched worse, I suppose. I think it's just science fiction. Like, I prefer watching science fiction over any other genre. So even poor science fiction I'll probably like more than like another genre of stuff. I'm just going to tidy up some of these a little bit, because apparently you can't... apparently it's difficult to paint Sanguinary Guard when they're glued together. You make messes. I was worried about you on New Year's Eve, and then you just proved how much of a legend you are at drinking. In in Scotland, we go hard when we drink. Yeah. I was once at a party that, like, the party was at my parents' house, but I'd like, it was like a bring your own booze party, right? And I brought like 2 kegs of beer, and like no one else was drinking the beer. Like, so it's like 2 kegs, so you're talking like, I don't know, like 10 or 15 liters of beer or something, and like no one else was drinking it. And like once you open the kegs, you can't like reseal them, right? Like they have to be drunk or they're useless. So I just drank like these. Basically, I'm pretty sure that I didn't finish all of them myself. Like some of them got spilled and stuff like that because like it was a lot of beer for one person. But I had a damn near good go of like trying to trying to drink these entire 2 kegs myself. And like at the end of the night, well, you guys know Brett. Brett lives on like the other side of town from my parents' house, and I kind of live on the opposite side of town as well, but like we both have to walk kind of through the center of town to get home. So it's like, so it was like 11 o'clock at night, right? And do you know what? Brett probably helped me a bit with the kegs. It's probably unfair, so I probably didn't drink these 2 entire kegs of beer myself. But I mean, that was on top of like a bunch of other drinks that we had during the day and stuff, you know? So I went inside and said to like Charlotte, my wife, I was like, right, we need to go home now. So we're gonna walk home with Brett, and we're just gonna stop in town for like, you know, like one for the road. We're just gonna have a drink at like a bar in town, and then we'll go home. And because we have to walk through town anyway to get home, and Charlotte was like, "You're way too drunk. We're not walking home, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm absolutely fine. We're just going into town with Brett, one drink, and then we'll go home." And like my wife is just like totally protesting this idea, but like I definitely didn't need anything else to drink. Like I was absolutely toasted at this point, right? And long story short is like 5 minutes later, like I'm getting like pushed into a taxi by my wife, and I said to her, like, I was like, "But what about Brett?" And she's like, "I don't give a fuck about Brett. You're going home." And then like the taxi's like driving away, and I'm like hanging out the window, like waving at Brett, going like, "Brett, I'm sorry, bye bye." So yeah. Like New Year was quite a bit of drinking, I guess, and like yeah, I was a mess, but like I could have gone for like another few hours and become even more of a mess. That's why I'm not watching back any of that stream, because yeah, I mean that's the sort of thing you know, like when you wake up in the morning and someone sent photos from the previous night, you're like, oh god, I don't want to see the photos. I know I was a mess last night. I don't want to see. Like, what do you guys think is the worst alcoholic drink on the market? Fat Frog. What is Fat Frog? Do you know what Jägermeister kind of tastes like? Jägermeister tastes a bit like cough medicine, does it not? Or is Jägermeister? It's quite licorice. I feel like Jägermeister is a bit cough medicine-y. Spiderwing says all of them. Maybe one day at Warhammer World we could have a drinking contest, but then I probably wouldn't want to be banned from Warhammer World forever, so it might not be a great idea. Oh, okay, what are we doing next? What time is it? pineapple booze, but not with marshmallow. Oh yeah, it was. You get Malibu pineapple that's pretty delicious, actually. Mr. Boston's vodka. Never heard of that. Do you know what I did think about Balanced Hydra? I did think about like a stream or something where it's like shots and it's like, what about like shots for every time a model gets destroyed or something? You'd have to have the same number of models in each team or each army list, or that'd be pretty unfair, right? But every time a unit gets destroyed, you have to take a shot, and you could then the tactics in the game would be very different, because it would be super important to kill off models, because then the other player has to take a shot, and then that inhibits them for future turns, right? Like if you manage to kill 3 things in turn 1, they got to take 3 shots, then you know that like they're not going to be playing on their A game in turn 2 and 3, right? I've never heard of Mr. Boston's vodka. Shot every 10 points lost. Yeah, I mean, well, that would have to be. It would have to be a sane number, right? Like you wouldn't want either player like KOing before the game is over. Oh, Mr. Boston is bottom shelf plastic bottle vodka. Okay, we don't have that in we don't have that in Britain. We have vodka. I think it's called like, is it called like Grant's vodka, which I guess would be the similar, which would just be like the cheapest vodka money can buy. But like in terms of vodka, like, I mean, you can get some really nice vodka, but yeah, Grant's I guess would be the cheap and nasty. A green diamond army would be. Ever been on a rugby tour? No, I've been on a paintball competition where there was an absolute ton of drinking, though. So I imagine that rugby, paintball, these sort of things are similar. Andrew could cheat worse if he was drunk, though. I suppose Andrew just needs to learn his rules. That's the main problem with Andrew, and he knows that. But I mean, the guy does play like 9 armies, so I mean, he is a good person to have in terms of like he can always bring something new to the channel for me to play against. But yeah, he does really need to probably learn how much damage his gun does for a start. Would be a good point. We're finally on to painting the rims of the feet. Yeah, I'm surprised that not many people do this, honestly. I like it. Why would you not paint the rim? You know, people give me shit about not dribbling my gun barrels. Do you paint the rims of your feet? Because, I mean, your Blood Angels gotta look good, right? They can't be rocking one color boots, like, that's not cool, man. So, what are people working on tonight then, hobby-wise? I think I'm going to leave the Relic Contemptors out of my army this weekend, or sorry, on Monday night as well. I think I'm going to leave out Relic Contemptors. And yeah, for anyone that didn't hear last week, we will have an army list show tomorrow. Will be much later in the day though, like so the same sort of time that this stream started. So until further notice, the army list show will be on Sunday evenings rather than Sunday afternoons. It's just, you know, I couldn't do it on the afternoons because I have to deal with my 4-week-old baby, 5-week-old baby, something like that. So it's going to be on the evenings until further notice. Loads of people play on here using other armies. I haven't thought about using TTS. I actually don't have TTS myself. But I think it's a funny one, right? Because like, I think if I was in the house, I wouldn't get peace to stream it. You know, like because. And I quite like the social part of like, I don't know, TTS for some reason. Like I like video games. I do like video games, but like TTS just doesn't appeal to me. The appeal of Warhammer is the board and the rolling dice and the tactics, I think. And for some reason, TTS just it really doesn't appeal for me. I mean, maybe if it appeals to Mark and Tony and they play TTS, maybe that's something one of them can do on the Grotz channel. I just converted an Indomitus Captain with some Blood Angels heraldry on the shield. Nice. I do like the Indomitus Captain. I just don't know really how you make him work. Steel and I are gearing up with TTS. Nice. I mean, what do you use for my base coat in the Blood Angels? I use Evil Sun Scarlet and then I wash them all with Agrax Earth Shade, so I don't do edge highlighting on red. I think a lot of people in here do more than just Blood Angels. I think I'm probably in the minority that I just have the one army, but like, I will, you know, I've got boxes of another army stuff behind me, but I just don't have time to get to it right now. I'll get to it in like 5 years' time. I actually have a ton of Star Wars Imperial Assault models to paint as well, but like I just never... I feel like I'm never finished my Blood Angels. One time I'll be finished Blood Angels and then they'll release new models, but if I ever get finished with Blood Angels, I'll paint some Imperial Assault on the stream, because I have a ton of Imperial Assault. I really like, you know, like 1970s Star Wars. I like it a lot. Clone Wars I actually kind of like. Rebels I actually really liked as well, but the 3 new movies with like Rey and Finn and all that, I fucking hated those movies. I am part of the One Army Massive, says Highland Phoenix, and yeah, we're glad to have you here as a Blood Angel, Highland Phoenix. For some of you guys, it feels like you've been... Some of you guys have been with the channel since it was so small. I honestly don't even know how small the channel was when some of you guys subscribed, so appreciate that. You're welcome, Chris. Thank you for your kind words. Good evening, Sentinel, and thank you. Was it you that just subscribed? I wasn't paying attention. It's getting late, I guess, and I wasn't paying attention. Thank you to whoever just subscribed. Much appreciated. No one liked those new movies. Some people did. The Clone Wars is shit, don't at me. I mean, the Clone Wars is a kid's show, sure. I mean, in some ways Rebels is a kid's show, sure. But I mean, it's still better than those 3 new movies, so I guess take that with a pinch of salt, I guess, Steel Rain. It would be pretty hard to be worse than those 3 new movies, to be honest. I see red figures, I may as well follow, says Sentinel. Thank you, dude. I mean, red figures are the best figures, right? What about gold? Do you like gold ones? Do I get a double follow because we got gold ones on here as well? Miguel, you were at 1.5k when you first followed up. It's been Camille says about 1,000. What is the worst D tier super crap? Sorry, I missed that. My 2k soup Blood Angels Custodes army will be Tau Railgun ready. I would like to know what your 2k soup army looks like with Custodes and Blood Angels. Clint has some salamanders. I'd love to know which video it was that I watched that got the algorithm to send me to your channel? It was probably keywords, DTM, because I do a lot of my videos. I try and do keywords because that's one of the ways to get noticed or picked up on YouTube, right? Like if you search Bladeguard Veterans and I have a video that has a lot of views on Bladeguard Veterans, then potentially you could have found. So I guess if you ever search for like a video that was like Space Marine specific, I don't know, Bladeguard Veterans, Assault Terminators, or anything like that, you could have, you know, I've done videos on all those units. Yeah, I mean, I mainly do my content over on YouTube. I mean, if you want army guides and stuff, there's a lot more stuff on YouTube than there is on Twitch, but you know, I put some stuff on Twitch as well, so I'm trying to build a following on both, but YouTube is like outstripping Twitch to a ratio of like 50-1 at the moment. I figure I'll get there with Twitch eventually. I liked Rogue One. I thought it was the best of the new movies. Chris, you're 100% right. I liked Rogue One too. A lot of, apparently that scene with Vader in the corridor like saved Rogue One. Trying to decide if that scene wasn't there, would Rogue One still have been a good movie? I mean, overall, I think yes, because I liked the whole bit when they were like on the tower on the planet, you know, and like they were trying to steal the plans and upload them to the ship. And it had all the sort of like retro 1970s, like sort of like those black and green screens they had in the original movie that was probably like done on like a Commodore back in the day or something. So yeah, I liked Rogue One in terms of like it felt kind of truer to the like 1970s Star Wars, which I guess is what I liked. And spoiler for Rogue One, if you've not seen Rogue One, if you've not seen Rogue One at this point, you should probably watch it. It's a good movie. While I was watching Rogue One with my sister, I'd seen it before. She was seeing it for the first time. Like halfway through the movie, I can't remember, she said something. Oh yeah, it was when like, you know, at the end of Rogue One, everyone starts dying. Like Bodhi dies on the plane, then like Chirrut and that die, and she turned to me and was like, oh my god, do all the rebels die in this movie? And I just, without missing a beat, I said to her, I was like, well, were any of them in episode 4? You know, like, it was like, that was one of the bits that I liked in the movie. And I also really liked that they didn't kiss at the end, which is a weird thing to say, I guess. But like, you know, in Rise of Skywalker, Ben Solo, or whatever his name is, who's been like murdering everybody, kisses Rey for some weird fucking reason, I don't know why. Whereas in Rogue One, the two of them are definitely gonna die and they just sort of hug. And I just thought that scene was like a lot better than the crappy kiss thing that they had in Skywalker. I mean, maybe I'm digging into it too deep, but yeah, I mean, like, they didn't need to kiss, right? They'd done their job, they'd stolen the plans, they were gonna die, you know, like, if they'd kissed, it would have probably been like, why the fuck were they kissing? Which is exactly what you thought in Rise of Skywalker at the end, where like Ben is now not Darth Ben anymore. He's good Ben now, and they're gonna kiss, I guess. Yeah, I did notice that then on Disney Plus they have a coming soon section now that says like Kenobi's coming soon. So let's hope there isn't a kiss between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. Like, hey, not seen you in a while, Master. Fancy a kiss? It killed off my childhood getting rid of Kyle Katarn. Do you know what? I like Kyle Katarn. I liked all those old Jedi Knight games. I've played Jedi Fallen Order, and I don't think it was nearly as good as the old Jedi Knight games. I mean, the graphics were good, obviously, because it was made 20 years plus, but like, I liked the story and the fun that we had in those old Jedi Knight games. Rogue One was a trick. It made us think the new trilogy could be good. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, Rise of Skywalker wasn't a love story either. They just kissed at the end, which was really strange. Star Wars films are so bad right now, they just trigger me. Okay, let's move off Star Wars lore. What other movies have you guys seen recently then? Because I was off work for 5 weeks just passed, basically holding a baby on my lap for 4 of those weeks. We watched a couple of movies. I tell you, we watched Guy Ritchie's new one, Wrath of Man, with Jason Statham. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's all, I think it's free on Amazon Prime. Or if you've, it's not free, I suppose. If you've got Amazon Prime and you've got the Prime Video, you can get it. It's Jason Statham. It's called Wrath of Man. It was a pretty good movie, I thought. Very much what you would expect with Jason Statham, just like a lot of guns and a lot of cars and stuff like that. But yeah, good movie. I haven't seen anything new for a while. I also bought Tenant because I hadn't seen that, and there was mixed reviews on Tenant, but I kind of enjoyed Tenant as well. I think I need to watch it again to fully maybe understand it and stuff like that, but I thought it was a good movie. So there you go, 2 movie recommendations. Rewatched the Alien Saga and went to You went to an alien museum. What are my great hopes for chapter approved 2022 for the Angels? Oh man, I'm so unconfident with chapter 20 approved 2022 because I was so excited about last year's one. And it obviously didn't deliver last year. You know, it put Vanguard veterans up in points, it put attack bikes up in points, it put Sanguinary Guard up in points. I think it actually maybe took Dante down like 10 points and took like... I feel like there was one other thing that we got like a 5-point buff on. But I think at the moment Blood Angels are being pretty ignored, unfortunately. I guess we'll see, but... My hope would be, I thought Sanguinary Guard were balanced at 30 points per model. I think they're totally fine there. Any other hopes would be maybe to see some of the other characters that like literally get no game time at the moment come down in points. That's what I thought last year, Steel Rain. I honestly thought last year we would get about 100 points more to play with in our lists. And I mean, like you said that you were running Astaroth 150 points. Like Astaroth to me, I think would be balanced easily at like 130, 135. Dante, probably I would even take 5 more points off Dante. I don't think he's survivable. I know some people don't think it's a problem. I do. I think a captain on a bike is much better than Dante. So I would make him cheaper than the captain on the bike, because why would I ever take him if the bike captain's better? Sanguinary Priests are too expensive, their jump packs are too expensive. But I mean, I think Games Workshop think that it's balanced at the moment. When does the new White Dwarf drop? I believe it's this week. And if you haven't been keeping up in the news, I believe the new White Dwarf has cards for the new secondaries that have been released, or I guess they've not really been released, but they've been discussed. So if you get the new White Dwarf, you're going to get cards for the new secondaries that are coming with Chapter Approved 22. I mean, I'm not sure how useful that is, because you'll get them anyway. But they're coming. The Sanguiner soon needs to go back to actually being able to be take on a Bloodthirster like you can in the lore. Yeah, I mean, I talked about the Sanguiner in last week's video, right? See, that's the thing with points changes. Points changes don't always fix things, and like the Sanguinor at 145 points I think is expensive, but if you just change his Warlord trait from Heroic Baron to Gift of Foresight, like leave him at 145 points, I'd honestly probably start taking him. Like that would make him super exciting. Like that he could do a Heroic Intervention and then Angel Sacrifice with the reroll of the save. And heroic bearing doesn't really help the Sanguiner anyway because he doesn't have any reroll aura, and half of heroic bearing is the reroll aura, and the other half is morale, and morale usually isn't a problem. So the Sanguiner's warlord trait, heroic bearing, is just shit, for lack of a better word. And I talked about that and said, like, we should really, if the Sanguiner had Gift of Foresight, I mean, would people in chat take him? Maybe that could be a poll we could do on the community tab and see, like, do people think the Sanguiner would be more competitive if he had a good warlord trait? And vote on what warlord trait he should have. I watched a fantastic Russian movie called Invasion, English subs obviously, but it was enjoyable. I don't mind subtitles. Obviously, because I got young kids, I watch just about everything with subtitles, even if it is in English. Just because otherwise you have to rewind it every 2 seconds because someone's talking over the movie. So subtitles actually really don't bother me. I think speed of the Primarch would be cooler in the Sanguiner. Yeah, I mean it would be, but it doesn't help him. Like the strength of the Sanguiner is you can arrive from deep strike and then he can tank something because he arrives from deep strike in engagement range. But if he doesn't have the ability to survive when he arrives like that, then he's kind of pointless, I guess. Gift of Speed of the Primarch doesn't help him because he's still fighting second, so he can still get killed before he can fight. I hate the inclusion of the Sanguiner. I want to remove from the game and Dante to get better rules as the golden savior. See, this is why I can't make videos on these. The Sanguiner used to be Strength 8, Toughness 8 back in 2nd and 3rd. I don't think he existed in 2nd and 3rd edition, did he? And I don't ever remember him being Strength 8 or Toughness 8. I have a 2nd edition codex over there, and I'm like 90% sure the Sanguiner is not in 2nd edition codex. But in the 2nd edition codex, I think Mephiston's Toughness 6? And Mephiston also had an ability to make your enemy have a weapon skill of 0, which basically meant like they were completely useless in combat against you. You're racing Blood Angels Commander to get your incursions done. Well, you'll win, dude, because I get to paint like 1 night a week at the moment. Saturday nights is like my 1 night that I've been painting these last 2 or 3 weeks now, pretty much since we had the baby. Yeah, Mephiston was an absolute beast back in the day. He's fallen a lot. I mean, he was even a beast in 8th edition because you could fight twice with him. I guess a lot of our characters that could fight twice were beastly in 8th edition. I get that we don't want to have like... I get that we don't want to have the game like be Hero Hammer, but I don't think it is at the moment. I just think some of our characters are probably... could be a little bit cheaper and still could be quite competitive. I'm sure we'll get a new Dante sculpt at some point. It's gotta happen. And they're not going to continue to release like firstborn characters, so I'm sure we're going to get a Primaris Dante. Hopefully they make him like the equivalent of like Morgan Val's strength or something. Like he should be a little bit more exciting, I guess. I mean, he is Regent Lord of half of the Imperium at this point, so I think he should be a bit stronger. Plus, he's like the most veteran Space Marine ever, right? Like the oldest, the most veteran. Mephiston would be good now if force weapons didn't suck. I mean, Mephiston has a named force weapon. He has Vitaris, which is a strength ×2 special specific named force weapon, but for whatever reason it just still does D3 damage. His strength 10. If his force weapon was flat 3 damage, I think I don't think you need to change too much on Mephiston to make him feel really strong. If his weapon was 3 damage, as opposed to D3, I think you probably just see like a ton more of Mephiston. It's just like Mephiston's going to go after the hardest to kill enemies, right? And like a bunch of those hard to kill enemies are going to be -1 damage. So D3 is just, I mean, it's better than 2, I guess. Like if they'd made him 2, that would have been really shit. But I think it just needs to be 3. Like a regular Death Company Marine does more damage with his weapon than with the Mephiston. It seems unlikely. Brush recommendations. Well, not this one. My go-to brushes are pretty much these Element Games character brushes. They're pretty cheap. They're better than the Games Workshop ones. They're cheaper than the Games Workshop ones. They last longer. I like them a lot. I have from time to time bought the Artist Opal brushes. These Artist Opal series ones, they're a little bit more expensive, but they do last really, really well. If you were going to buy brushes, those are the two that I like. If I'm just doing base colors or things like that right now, I'm just using some shitty. This is a synthetic Citadel brush, so I always do like bits that aren't important with cheap brushes, I guess. Probably just habit, and then when I'm ready to start to go into detail and tidy things up and stuff, then I'll use a more expensive brush or a more accurate brush. Camille says Artist Opal brushes as well. D3 plus 3, yeah, I mean, give Mephiston D3 plus 3 and everyone will fucking have Mephiston, you watch. I mean, and I guess that's the problem with chapter approved mainly focusing on points cost, right? Because like the problem with Mephiston is not points. The problem with the Battle Predator is not points. The problem with the Land Raider is not points. You know, like these things just need small tweaks to their data sheets, and the small correct tweaks could make these things competitive. Like if you took a Land Raider, right, and let's just say you took a Land Raider and give it a 5-up in Vun, and Land Raiders are like normal 2-up save, toughness 8, but there's a lot of Melt of Fire running around now that maybe wasn't here in previous editions. So a ton of Melt of Fire can like wreck a Land Raider, and you got no reliable save, so you can't afford to field them because it's a 300 point model. I actually don't know how many points the Land Raider is at the moment. I think it's maybe 285, but regardless, it's like a 285 point model that you can't field because it's got no invulnerable save to get killed in a single turn. Give it a reasonably reliable invulnerable save, even a 5-up or something, and like you would see that on the table. People would be like, yeah, okay, this is a transport with a 5-up and some good firepower, and it can deliver like 16 Marines. We can totally make that work, you know? But you just don't see it because reasons, you know? I just keep asking what the fuck do Games Workshop rules writers do all year because they're not doing a codex. It must be a tough job, right? Like I don't know how. I don't know what they would have to do on a week-to-week basis, or I don't really know. I don't know enough about it. I'm sure it's a tough job, but yeah, it feels like it could be done better, I guess. No Thousand Sun players are using Land Raiders, and they come with a 5-up stock. I think Land Raiders need something else like D3. Oh well, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, make the Laos cannons. I think Laos cannons in general should probably be D3+3, right? Because like entropy cannons are like so much better. I plan to use Trajan to soak up and erase the Tau railgun heat. Changes down restriction of attack that's changed to 0. What is it, like a single attack he can change to 0, or I haven't read the new Custode Codex. Like, what is Trajan's special rule? Tony probably got the new codex today, right? Did you get the new codex today, Tony? You still here? Land Raiders should be toughness 9. I mean, I guess that would help them a lot against all the melt of fire. Yeah, I mean, toughness 9. Yeah, I've got no problem with them being toughness 9, actually. For the point cost that they currently are, toughness 9 would make a lot of sense. That really just helps them against, like, strength 8 firepower, right? Which is a lot of multi-melters. And I guess it maybe helps against, like, maybe some of these big cannons, like the Tau have now, like, because they would only wound on 3s as opposed to 2s, right? When a saving throw failed for this model, the damage characteristic of the attack is changed to 0. So can they not just shoot you with all their bolters first to make you fail a? Well, I don't know what they don't. Tau don't have bolters, but you know what I'm trying to say. Shoot them with all your fire teams' crappy weapons first, and then one of those has failed and it goes to 0 damage, and then they hit you with the railgun. Is that not possible? Gandalf's dad is here with $5 or £5 actually, but I mean $5 is $5, I guess. I don't really differentiate between dollars or pounds, but thank you so much for the $5. Looking for favorite bands or artists here. Custodes are going to be a high A tier for sure. You pick when you want to use it. Okay. Oh, that's pretty nice, isn't it? You can choose which attack becomes turned to 0. Yeah, and I mean, it's a bit like when Blood Angels used to field like a ton of attack bikes, right? Like everybody was fielding attack bikes, and everybody had their Sanguinary Priest, and it was really strong. And then everyone started to realize, like, oh, if they've got a Sanguinary Priest, they're just going to resurrect the attack bikes. So if I want to shoot the attack bikes, I either have to wipe out the entire squad of attack bikes, or I don't shoot the attack bikes, right? And like, then all of a sudden the Sanguinary Priest becomes a lot weaker because people get smart to it. So would Trajoran not just sort of be the same thing? Maybe one game the enemy shoots Trajoran, even if they can shoot him because he's probably got bodyguards, or he's probably protected because he's next to a squad or a dreadnought or something. The one time they shoot him with a railgun and you turn the damage characteristic to 0, then they're never going to do it again, right? They're not going to fall for this thing. Fool me once, fool me twice sort of thing. So like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely not going to waste my railgun on him again. And then your tactic, it worked in 1 or 2 games, and then it's gone, I guess. And that's kind of what happened to attack bikes with the Sanguinary Priest, in my opinion. Like, I played so many games where I had squads of attack bikes next to Sanguinary Priest, but it just got to a point where like everybody realized, like, oh, we have to just focus on the attack bikes and kill them outright, and then you can't resurrect any of them, and then that's a big. It's a lot of wasted points, I guess, on a Sanguinary Priest that's not getting to do the main thing he's on the battlefield to do, which is resurrect. Steel Rain likes Michael Jackson. I did not know that we had many Michael Jackson fans in this room. We were very close to calling our son Michael John, and then we'd have probably gone with like MJ. I actually love Michael Jackson. He had some I mean, he had some great songs all the way through the 80s and the 90s, right? Who doesn't like a bit of Michael Jackson? I don't believe any of the crap that they said about him and Neverland. I don't believe any of it. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion on that. I don't think it was true at all. I like Michael Jackson. But normally I listen to a bit more heavier music. I like, when I was younger, I used to like Metallica and stuff like that. I think the last band I actually saw live might have been Metallica, because they kind of do the stadium rock sort of thing. Nowadays I like Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Daft Punk. Michael Jackson's been slandered. Yeah, I mean, I just think he was quite innocent. I think Michael Jackson was naive, but I don't believe that he did anything negative. I just think he was naive. But I used to have a CD that was like Michael Jackson's favourite hits or number one hits, because he had a shitload of number ones, like 20, 30 number ones or something. We listened to the crap out of that CD. Do you remember the scene in Rush Hour 2 when Chris Rock, yeah? Was it Chris Rock? Chris Rock sings Michael Jackson. It was a cool scene. I'm not even going to try and say he the way he says it, but I heard, it's weird, I read that in his voice, if you know what I mean, James. Muse, Black Hole and Revelations, that is pretty good. You think you're underestimating Lacuna Coil? Yeah, my wife listens to Lacuna Coil. Too bad Daft Punk call it quits. Yeah, I loved the last Daft Punk album. I also loved Tron Legacy. I don't know if you've watched that movie, but that's one of my favourite movies. I liked the original Tron. I liked Legacy a lot, and I think I liked it for the special effects maybe more than like the plot and stuff. And also I liked the Tron universe. But the music for Tron Legacy was fucking amazing. I've listened to that movie soundtrack like honestly 1,000 times. They made so much money off me on Spotify. Oh, was Chris Tucker in Rush Hour? Yes. Do you remember when Chris Tucker sang? I think it was Rush Hour 2. He sang "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" in a club where he's just about to get beat up by people. We don't get many Chris Tucker movies these days. I liked Rush Hour. I always kind of hoped that they would do a Rush Hour 4, you know that? I like the first 3, I guess. I actually saw the other day, I think it might... We have a stupid amount of streaming services, right? We got like Amazon Prime, we got Disney Plus, we got Netflix, and then we got 18 months of free Apple TV. So we got like 4 streaming services, which is just stupid. We could probably cancel 2 of them for sure. But like I noticed the other day that like there was a new movie that had just come out on one of them that was like with Jackie Chan, and I was like, holy crap, Jackie Chan's still making movies? Like, how old is he now? Because I feel like he was like 60 like 20 years ago. But yeah, so if Jackie Chan's still making movies, Rush Hour 4 with Chris Tucker, I would watch that. CCP problems? What does that mean? Is that like a disease or something? Which is your favourite Daft Punk album? I'm not sure. I really like the new one, or the latest one, whatever, that Random Access Memories. And yeah, Tron Legacy was brilliant as well. Yeah, I don't know which platform it was on, because that's the problem with having all these stupid streaming services, is like you find a movie and then you're going to watch it, and then like the following night you come back and you're like, what? Where were we watching that? But yeah, I'm sure I saw there was a new Jackie Chan film out, and I was like, wow, I did not think he'd still be making movies, but good for him, I suppose, if he's still doing it. Chinese Communist Party. Okay. I mean, I guess we're lucky we live in an area of the world where like free speech and all that is very fine, I guess. We don't have the problems that some of these other countries have. Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on in China at the moment. Well, maybe he's sorted out, or maybe it's not that new, the movie. Alright, it's coming up to midnight. I'm going to end the stream in like 10 minutes. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep with the baby, and I'm going to have to go and get one of my I'm going to have to go and get one of my kids and sleep with them tonight, so that... But yeah, tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, I think we'll be back for the Army List show. I say 9 o'clock, it's probably going to be more like 9:30, so probably a similar time to when tonight's stream started. We'll have the Army List show live tomorrow night. And yeah, it'll be live in the evening until further notice. So if anyone's wondering why the change, it's just the time I can do now. And then we will have a live game on Monday against, I think, Death Guard, but Colin is going to be working on an Ultramarines list. So hopefully next couple of months we'll get Ultramarines on the channel. We'll maybe get Imperial Guard on the channel. And that'll be nice to get some new armies to fight against. Colin's apparently selling his Grey Knights, and I'm very surprised Andrew didn't buy them, actually, because I think Grey Knights are a very interesting position. Having a single character that can do like 21 plus mortal wounds in a single psychic phase is kind of insane. I don't know how else to put it, but also I don't know why the designers ever thought that they make a character that could do 21 mortal wounds in a single psychic phase. Amazon Prime did advertise Karate Kid, but maybe it's not new. Yeah, no, thank you so much for sending over the bottle of whiskey. It's very kind of you, Steel Rain. I appreciate it. Or do you guys call it whiskey or you call it bourbon? Like, would you say to your friends, I'm having a whiskey or I'm having a bourbon? What do you say? And also, you didn't reply to me. How am I supposed to be drinking this? Because I've been sipping it for like the last 2 hours. Is that how you drink it? Or... is the problem of being able to pile up one strat onto one unit? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you deal with that problem, I guess, DTM, but I do think it's a problem that actually needs addressed. I think maybe a bigger problem is like, you know, like if Grey Knights can do 30 mortal wounds in the Psychic phase, should the Psychic phase be capped? Right? I mean, I get that you want Psychic armies. I get that. But you should really have an army that can, like, if you total up all the wounds across all my models at the start of the game, like you're talking like maybe I've got 80 wounds in my army. If you can do 30 wounds of mortal wounds in a single Psychic phase, so basically like over a third of my army in one Psychic phase. Bear in mind this is a 5-turn game that we're normally playing. Is that fine? Should that be allowed? I don't know. I mean, the games I've had against Thousand Suns and Grey Knight since their new codex have been disgusting. Both times I've easily had like 20 mortal wounds spat on me in a single Psychic phase. And like my army is not equipped to be able to deal with that. Like if you have an average shooting phase and an average close combat phase after doing 20 mortal wounds in the Psychic phase, I am struggling to win that game ever. I don't know how I'm winning it, because like that's just so much damage, right? The Psychic phase should not be capped. That'd be like capping shooting. Like Tau can be... yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be capped, right? But like the rules shouldn't be there to be abused to the fact that you can do 30 mortal wounds then, I guess. So I don't know how to fix it. I'm not pretending I know how to fix it. I'm not obviously a GW employee or a balance guy, but I guess my point is that like it's not a fun experience if you compare Grey Knights to Blood Angels without Psychic. I was going to say I don't even know if Blood Angels are 10% better, but let's just for argument's sake we're 10% better. So we're 10% better at Grey Knights in the shooting phase and the close combat phase, but every psychic phase they can do 30 mortal wounds. Is that balanced? Because I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like it is, I guess. Bourbon is made from corn, whiskey might be made from grain, and Scotch is usually associated with malt, so the base is different, but the process and refinement is basically the same, says Manuel. Thanks for pointing that out, I appreciate that. You fix it in by reining in the things around them. Having a powerful psychic phase should be in lieu of something else. At the moment, Grey Knights are too good at shooting in combat compared to the other mortal wounds. Yeah, I mean, the only other way to fix Grey Knights is... I don't know what we'll see happen to Grey Knights in this year's chapter approved. Like, how would you balance them? Or do you think they're fine? Because I guess some people would say, yeah, they're fine. They're not that strong, I suppose. Everyone's got their own opinion, right? 1,000 Suns, on the other hand, kind of suck at melee and have no good range anti-tank shooting, so their mortal wounds is less obnoxious. Yeah, I mean, 1,000 Suns don't have the greatest anti-tank. I have played against a 1,000 Sun player that had that had 3 relic contemptors, and that felt pretty strong. But I haven't played against 1,000 Suns with other great anti-tank. Relic contemptors are just, you know, they either swing great, they swing high or they swing low, I guess. Should mortal wounds tap out, say 5-10 mortals in one phase, and the opponents can try and save against them? Yeah, I don't know. But I do think that we've come to a place now where mortal wounds are very, very common, and certain armies are able to spit them out like they're going out of fashion. I don't know. I really don't know how it's fixed, or if it's, or even if it needs to be fixed, I guess. But in some of the games I've played recently, it's definitely felt like I've been up against it, just because certain weapons or guns or stratagems can just spit out so many mortal wounds. And this is, I run Soul Warden. I've been running Soul Warden now for a few months, you know, so like I have a bubble of protection against mortal wounds. And typically the protection is on some of the most durable things I have, because it's on my Tech Marines, so like my Dreadnoughts are getting protection against mortal wounds and shrugs against them, and even then they can still get absolutely blown up by mortal wounds from certain armies or certain things, I guess. Inceptors and Dread Knights should probably get a point hike. I mean, I guess we'll probably see that in chapter approved. I think the fact that there's been so many like lists with like 6 Dread Knights will probably facilitate that. I think. Hard to say though, right? Do you think Storm Ravens will make a comeback? Not purely from points costs. Like they're one of the models, like, I think the problem with the Storm Raven is not the points cost. I think it's like, it's big, it's only got toughness 7 and it doesn't have an invulnerable save. And with stuff like Tau being able to do like 12 damage in a single gunshot now, yeah, I don't think we'll see Storm Ravens anytime soon, I guess. Dread Knights have too many tools, big wound pool with the right tide, the 36-inch range, the high AP, the high shooting, dangerous melee, strats and psychers, yeah, and I guess Dread Knights also have a nice handy 4-up and bun as well, which is cool. I think, if I'm correct, Grey Knights can add 6 inches to their psychic powers as well, DTM. I mean, maybe it's minor, but I'm pretty sure it can be done. Or maybe it's +1 to cast with certain range or something, but there's definitely more shenanigans that they can do. I started looking through all the stuff they can do, honestly, and it's kind of daunting. There's so much. I mean, they can pick powers from 2 disciplines. One of the things I suppose they could do is they could limit it so each psyker can only take a power from 1, you know, because they've got access to 2 disciplines. So that might rein it in a little bit if, like, one psyker can't take all the mortal wound output powers, because that's what they're doing. They're taking one from, like, I forget the name of their 2 disciplines. I think it's like Domitus and Sanctus or something. But, like, they're having to take powers from both to get that giant mortal wound output. Eradicators were a terrible idea, then attack bikes, Jesus. What do you mean by a terrible idea? What, putting the points cost up on Eradicators, or just Eradicators as a model were a terrible idea? I haven't had that much success with Eradicators. I always preferred the attack bikes, honestly. Alright, I'm just going to tidy up this last guy's shoulder pad a tiny little bit, and I'm going to call it a night, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you had an enjoyable stream. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about army lists. Stuart, you're very welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Land Raiders better not get half damage before Magnus. I get good work out of Eradicators. Them and drop podded company veterans with metal weapons are my main anti-tank. Fair enough. Eradicators are only a few points cheaper than well, do you know what? They were only a few points cheaper than attack bikes. I guess with attack bikes going up in points, wasn't it? They got a little bit more further away. I think when they were like only 10 points between Eradicators and attack bikes, I think attack bikes were hands down the better choice. But I guess attack bikes did go up to 60, and I guess Eradicators stayed at 45. Attack bikes are nice in terms of their power level, though. Like, their power level is still pretty low, so it's easy to strategically reserve them. Foz, but love the content and getting to talk to all of you. Yeah, you're very welcome. And hopefully I'll remember to buy some Dawnstone. I mean, I've written it down right in front of me there, so. Some of these guns are just annoyingly close to the shoulder pads. I always paint assembled, though. I never do sub-assemblies. I tried once or twice and it never quite got the hang of it. Alright, I think that will do me for tonight, guys. Have a good evening. Thank you again for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night, and then we'll be back on Monday night for a live game as well. Thanks again to Steel Rain for the whiskey, and thanks to the super chats and new members and everything. Those are also super appreciated. So have a good evening. By the blood, army made strong. See you tomorrow.